Did you know some cone snail sting can be fatal? The world is full of mind-blowing facts that sound too crazy to be true, but they are. Welcome to the channel. Here are 30 mind-blowing facts that you probably didn't know. Fact 1. Some tropical species of cone snails have a harpoon sting which can be fatal, and has killed at least 27 people. One species, the Conus geographus, has earned the nickname cigarette snail because its venom can kill a person so quickly that they would only have enough time to smoke a cigarette before dying. There is no anti-venom, so treatment involves artificial respiration and supportive care until the venom wears off. Fact 2. Coca-Cola sold for 5 cents for over 60 years. Early Coca-Cola advertisements and vending machines were built around the 5-cent price, making it difficult to change. In 1899, Coca-Cola signed a deal with independent bottlers that fixed the price they paid for syrup, which made it hard for the company to adjust prices. The nickel was the smallest coin commonly used in vending machines at the time, so raising the price would have required a redesign of machines or introducing new coins. Despite inflation and rising costs, Coca-Cola kept the price at 5 cents until the late 1950s, when economic pressure finally forced an increase. Fact 3. 2 separate Mongol invasions of Japan were ended by typhoons that saved Japan from almost certain defeat. In 1274, the Mongol Empire launched its first invasion of Japan, deploying a fleet of 500 to 900 ships carrying 30,000 to 40,000 men. After initial successes on Tsushima and Iki Islands, the Mongols landed at Hakata Bay on Kyushu. However, a typhoon struck during their withdrawal to the ships, sinking many vessels and causing significant casualties. In 1281, the Mongols attempted a second invasion with a much larger force, comprising 2 fleets totaling over 4,000 ships and nearly 140,000 men. After months of stalemate and failed landing attempts, a powerful typhoon, referred to as kamikaze or divine wind by the Japanese, devastated the Mongol fleet. Thousands of soldiers drowned, and many ships were destroyed, forcing the Mongols to abandon their invasion plans. Fact 4. Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, was an avid Tetris player and was so good that he repeatedly submitted high scores to Nintendo Power magazine in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He dominated the leaderboard so often that the magazine eventually stopped publishing his scores to give others a chance. In response, Wozniak started submitting his scores under a fake name, Yvette Kainzow, his name spelled backward, and got back on the leaderboard. Fact 5. In 2010, Texas Stadium, former home of the Dallas Cowboys, was demolished by an 11-year-old contest winner. 11-year-old Casey Rogers won an essay contest sponsored by Kraft Foods, which granted him the honor of triggering the demolition. The contest was part of Kraft's promotional campaign for their Cheddar Explosion macaroni and cheese. On April 11, 2010, Casey activated the explosives that brought down the stadium, marking the end of an era for the iconic structure known for its distinctive hole in the roof. Fact 6. In 2010, Neil Jones, a tiler from Staffordshire, UK, won £2.4 million in the National Lottery. His first purchase after his life-changing win was a pool table, reflecting his passion for the game. After retiring, Jones spent years honing his pool-playing skills at home, particularly during the COVID-19 lockdowns when he had ample time to practice. His dedication paid off as he rose through the ranks, eventually becoming a regular county-level player. In 2023, his hard work culminated in him being selected to represent England at the European Pool Championships. Fact 7. Andrew Carnegie was a Scottish-American industrialist and one of the wealthiest men of his time, primarily due to his success in the steel industry. He gave away about 90% of his wealth, over $350 million, which is equivalent to billions today, to various causes, particularly in education and libraries. He funded over 2,500 libraries worldwide. Most were in the United States, though some were also built in Canada, the UK, and other countries. Why libraries? Carnegie was a self-educated man, and his love of reading came from access to a private library owned by Colonel James Anderson in Pittsburgh, who allowed working boys to borrow books. This free access to books played a huge role in Carnegie's success. Because of this, Carnegie believed that libraries provided the opportunity for self-education, so he made it his mission to fund public libraries where people could improve themselves through learning. Fact 8. Aqua Dots, a popular children's toy released in 2007, were recalled after it was discovered that they contained a toxic chemical that could metabolize into gamma-hydroxybutyrate, GHB, commonly known as the date rape drug. The issue arose because the manufacturer used 1,4-butadiene, BDO, instead of a safer, more expensive chemical. When ingested, the body metabolizes BDO into GHB, which can cause drowsiness, loss of consciousness, seizures, coma, and even death. Several children became seriously ill after swallowing the beads, leading to a massive recall of over 4 million units by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Fact 9. At John F. Kennedy's presidential inauguration on January 20, 1961, Robert Frost, then 86 years old, was asked to deliver a poem. He had prepared a new work called Dedication specifically for the occasion. However, the glare of the bright sunlight on the snowy landscape made it difficult for him to read the text, and the wind also caused the pages to flutter. Unable to see his poem clearly, Frost chose to recite the gift outright from memory instead. This poem, written in 1942, reflected themes of American history and patriotism, which were fitting for the occasion. Interestingly, Frost had planned to read both Dedication and the gift outright, but due to the circumstances, he delivered only the latter. Kennedy and the audience were still deeply moved by his performance, which added a spontaneous and heartfelt element to the historic event. Fact 10. There was a scientist involved in the U.S. Manhattan Project, determined the age of the world, created the clean room, and campaigned against leaded gasoline because it was poisoning everyone. Yes, all of these were the work of American geochemist Claire Cameron Patterson. Fact 11. There are 1,100 Dunkin' locations in Massachusetts, and there are even 2 Dunkin' stores across the street from each other in Revere, Massachusetts. Fact 12. Washington State's admission to the Union was delayed because the governor forgot to sign the state constitution. After the Constitution was ratified by voters on October 1, 1889, a certified copy was sent to President Benjamin Harrison for approval. However, the document was incomplete because Governor Miles C. Moore had neglected to sign it. This oversight prevented President Harrison from issuing the proclamation necessary for Washington's statehood. Once the signed Constitution was received, President Harrison issued the proclamation on November 11, 1889, officially admitting Washington as the 42nd state. Fact 13. The original Machine Gun Kelly was a gangster and bootlegger in the 1920s. His most famous crime was kidnapping oil tycoon Charles F. Urschel, whom he and his gang exchanged for an almost $5 million ransom in today's money. Kelly and his gang were caught shortly after the ransom was paid, and he was sentenced to life in prison, where he spent the rest of his days. Fact 14. The director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven, released in 2005, runs for 3 hours and 14 minutes and includes an overture at the beginning and a 3-minute intermission in the middle. The overture plays before the movie starts, featuring a musical piece set against a black screen. The intermission occurs at a dramatic midpoint, displaying a still image of Balian, played by Orlando Bloom, sitting with his fellow Crusaders after a battle, accompanied by a specially composed musical score by Harry Gregson Williams. This version of the film is considered far superior to the theatrical cut, as it restores character development, political intrigue, and key plot elements that were removed from the original 2-hour, 24-minute theatrical release. Fact 15. The heir apparent of the Qajar dynasty, which ruled Iran from 1789 to 1925, is a university professor in Dallas, Texas, and is nicknamed Mickey. Prince Mohammed Hassan. Mirza II Qajar, born on July 18, 1949, is the son of Hamid Mirza and the grandson of Muhammad Hassan Mirza, the last crown prince of Iran during the Qajar dynasty. He is considered the current pretender to the Sun Throne of Iran. Currently residing in Dallas, he is known as Mickey among his close family and friends and serves as a professor of geology at Dallas College El Centro. Fact 16. The birthday effect is the phenomenon where you are significantly more likely to die on or near your birthday than on other dates, though the reasons behind it are still debated. Several studies, including a Swiss study in 2012, found that people over 60 years old have a 14% higher chance of dying on their birthday compared to any other day. Some research suggests that birthday-related stress, emotional strain, or overindulgence in food or alcohol may trigger fatal heart attacks or strokes. Some theories suggest that people with terminal illnesses may hold on until their birthday before passing, though this is debated. Fact 17. Japan drives on the left-hand side of the road, a custom that dates back to the Edo period, from 1603 to 1867, when samurai ruled the country. Samurai traditionally walked on the left side of the road to keep their swords, or katana, from clashing with those of other samurai. This custom influenced how people moved in crowded areas, and likely contributed to Japan's left-side preference. In 1872, England won the bid to help Japan build its railway system, which ran on the left side. By 1924, left-hand driving was officially written into Japanese law. Fact 18. A KGB agent and a CIA agent became friends while trying to recruit each other. They knew the other was a spy and just didn't talk about it. Jack Platt was a CIA officer, and Gennady Vasilenko was a KGB officer based in Washington, D.C. They met in the 1970s and each suspected the other was a spy. Both tried to recruit each other at different points, but instead, they formed an unlikely friendship. They never directly acknowledged that they were spies, even though they both knew. Vasilenko was arrested by the KGB in 1988, partly due to information leaked by Aldrich Ames, a CIA traitor who was spying for the Soviet Union. He was imprisoned in Moscow's infamous Lefortovo prison for years before being released. Jack Platt and other CIA officers advocated for his release and eventually, he was freed. Fact 19. Antarctica is home to at least 138 volcanoes, many of which are hidden beneath the ice. A 2017 study by researchers at the University of Edinburgh mapped these volcanoes using satellite data and found that Antarctica has one of the largest volcanic regions on Earth. Antarctica is home to Mount Erebus, the southernmost active volcano on Earth. It is located on Ross Island and stands at 12,448 feet tall. Unlike most volcanoes, Mount Erebus has a permanent lava lake, which has been active for over 50 years. It is one of the very few volcanoes on Earth with a persistent lava lake, making it a unique geological feature. Fact 20. The concept of practical joke devices like the whoopee cushion dates back to ancient times. The Romans were known for their crude humor, and some sources suggest that they may have had inflatable bladders or similar devices for pranking. The first modern whoopee cushion was patented in the 1930s by a Canadian rubber company, but earlier versions of farting bags existed before that. Fact 21. In 1873, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against Myra Bradwell in Bradwell v. Illinois, denying her the right to practice law. Bradwell had applied for a law license in Illinois, but the state denied her because she was a woman. The Supreme Court upheld the decision in an 8-1 ruling, with Justice Joseph P. Bradley writing a concurring opinion that reflected the era's gender biases. While the majority ruling focused on states' rights, Bradley argued that women were timid and delicate and their primary destiny and mission was as wives and mothers. The law profession was not suitable for women, implying that their participation could be disruptive. Fact 22. Bank of America was actually founded as the Bank of Italy. Founded in 1904 in San Francisco, California by Amedeo Pietro Giannini, an Italian-American banker. Originally called the Bank of Italy, it was created to serve immigrants and working-class individuals who were often ignored by larger banks. In 1928, Giannini merged Bank of Italy with Bank of America, Los Angeles. In 1930, the entire institution was officially renamed Bank of America National Trust and Savings Association. Fact 23. In 1917, Dr. Joe Holland, a doctor in Perth, guided the postmaster of Halls Creek, a remote outback town in Western Australia, through a life-saving bladder surgery via Morse code. The patient, Fred Tuckett, had suffered a ruptured bladder from a fall off a horse. With no doctors for hundreds of kilometers, the postmaster followed Holland's instructions in real time over Morse code to perform the operation. After sending the instructions, Dr. Holland raced 2,800 kilometers from Perth to Halls Creek to provide further medical care. His journey included a ship to Derby, a Model T Ford across rough terrain, and a final 40 kilometers on horseback at night to reach Halls Creek. By the time he arrived, Tuckett had survived, thanks to the improvised surgery. Fact 24. Edible gold is a particular type of real gold authorized by the European Union and the United States as a food additive, under the code E-175. It is used in haute cuisine as part of a trend towards extravagance in meals. To be safe for consumption, edible gold must be at least 22 to 24 carats pure. This ensures it is chemically inert, meaning it won't be absorbed by the body and will pass through the digestive system without harm. Any impurities like copper or other metals could be toxic, which is why high purity is required. Fact 25. Steam locomotives were still being manufactured for industrial use in 1999. While steam locomotives were largely replaced by diesel and electric trains in the mid-20th century, they continued to be manufactured for industrial use in some parts of the world. The last known major manufacturer of steam locomotives was the Datong Locomotive Works in China, which produced the final batch of QJ-class steam locomotives in 1999 for industrial railways. Fact 26. Puss in Boots is a character from a classic fairy tale from the 1500s. The earliest known version of Puss in Boots was written by Giovanni Francesco Straparola in the 1550s, in his collection The Facetious Knights of Straparola. However, this version was quite different from the one we know today. The most famous version was published in 1697 by Charles Perrault, a French writer who included it in Histoire au conte du temps passé, or Tales of Times Past. Perrault's version introduced the clever trickster cat who helps his poor master rise to wealth and nobility. Fact 27. Celentani pasta, also known as cavatappi, is named after singer Adriano Celentano. It was named after Italian singer Adriano Celentano, a famous musician and actor known for his energetic performances and his signature dance moves, which resemble the pasta's twisting shape. The name Celentani was given by the Barilla Company as a tribute to Celentano's charisma and influence in Italian pop culture. Adriano Celentano is best known internationally for his nonsense-sounding song Prisencoli Nensina Insiu Sol from 1972, which mimics the sound of American English despite being mostly gibberish. Fact 28. In May 2024, Taizhou Zoo in China's Jiangsu province exhibited chow chow dogs dyed to resemble pandas, referring to them as panda dogs. The zoo implemented this practice after being denied the opportunity to house actual giant pandas. A zoo spokesperson stated, "Normal people dye their hair. Dogs can dye their hair too." This incident is part of a broader trend where some zoos in China have used painted dogs to mimic pandas, leading to public criticism and discussions about animal welfare and ethical practices in zoos. Fact 29. Despite being uninhabited, Swains Island is still guaranteed one representative in the legislature of American Samoa. Swains Island was incorporated into American Samoa through a joint resolution of Congress in 1925. In 2025, the delegate from Swains Island became a voting member of the House of Representatives, even though the island remained uninhabited. At that time, only 9 former inhabitants were eligible to select the delegate. This unique arrangement ensures that Swains Island maintains a voice in the legislative process of American Samoa, despite its lack of permanent residence. Fact 30. In Japan, women give chocolates on Valentine's Day, but men must return the favor on White Day, March 14th. often with gifts 3x the value. There's obligation chocolate for co-workers and true love chocolate for crushes. Some women even keep receipts to track repayment. And there you have it, 30 mind-blowing facts that you probably didn't know. Which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss more amazing facts. Thanks for watching. Keep discovering one fact at a time, and I'll see you in the next video.